Have you ever wondered how we breathe? What intricate processes are involved in this seemingly simple act of inhaling and exhaling? Welcome to our comprehensive guide on the organs of respiration. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the mechanics of breathing to unravel the mysteries behind this vital life-sustaining process. Imagine a network, an interconnected system of organs all working in harmony to keep us alive. This is the respiratory system, a marvel of nature's engineering. It's made up of various organs, each playing a crucial role in the process of respiration. Our journey begins with the lungs, the primary organs responsible for inhaling and exhaling. Picture two sponge-like structures inside your chest, expanding and contracting with each breath. These are your lungs, home to millions of tiny sacs called alveoli. These sacs are the site of a crucial exchange, where oxygen is absorbed into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide is expelled. Next, we have the diaphragm, a powerful dome-shaped muscle just below the lungs. Have you ever watched your chest rise and fall as you breathe? That's the diaphragm at work. When it contracts, it creates a vacuum that allows the lungs to expand, drawing in fresh oxygen. And when it relaxes, it helps push out carbon dioxide, the waste product of respiration. But the lungs and diaphragm aren't the only players in this process. We also have the intercostal muscles, located between the ribs, which aid in expanding and contracting the chest cavity during breathing. They work in harmony with the diaphragm, ensuring a smooth flow of air in and out of the lungs. And let's not forget the nasal cavity. This intricate passageway not only warms and filters the air we breathe, but also traps dust, allergens, and microbes that could potentially harm our respiratory system. Our journey begins with the lungs, the primary organs responsible for inhaling and exhaling. So let's dive in and explore the fascinating world of the respiratory system. Let's unlock the mysteries of breathing. Let's begin with the lungs, our body's primary respiratory organ. These twin powerhouses of respiration sit snugly within our chest cavity, each encased in a protective pleural sac. Their spongy texture is due to millions of tiny sacs called alveoli, which are the true heroes of the gas exchange process. Imagine the lungs as a tree in full bloom, with each alveolus representing a leaf. Just as leaves are the sites of photosynthesis in a tree, the alveoli are where the magic of gas exchange happens in our bodies. Oxygen from the air we breathe in diffuses across the thin walls of the alveoli and into the bloodstream. At the same time, waste carbon dioxide from the body diffuses in the opposite direction, ready to be exhaled. Each alveolus is surrounded by a network of tiny blood vessels or capillaries, forming a vast interface for gas exchange. To give you a sense of scale, if all the alveoli in our lungs were flattened out, they would cover an area roughly the size of a tennis court. That's a lot of surface area for such a compact organ. But the lungs don't work alone. They rely on a symphony of other structures to carry out their function. Among these are the bronchial tubes, which deliver air to and from the alveoli, and the pulmonary blood vessels, which transport oxygenated blood to the body and return deoxygenated blood back to the lungs. Another crucial player in this process is the pleural membrane, a thin, moist layer that coats the lungs and lines the chest cavity. This membrane produces a lubricating fluid that allows the lungs to expand and contract smoothly during breathing. Without it, every breath would be a struggle. Despite their delicate structure, the lungs are incredibly resilient. They continuously adapt to changes in our environment and activity level, ensuring that our bodies receive the right amount of oxygen at all times. From restful sleep to rigorous exercise, our lungs rise to the challenge, silently and ceaselessly powering the breath of life. Next, we explore the powerful muscle known as the diaphragm. The diaphragm plays a crucial role in the breathing process. Acting like a powerful pump, this dome-shaped muscle sits snugly at the base of the chest cavity, separating it from the abdominal cavity. When we inhale, the diaphragm contracts and flattens, creating a vacuum that draws air into the lungs. As it contracts, it also pushes the abdominal organs downwards, making more space for the lungs to expand. But the diaphragm doesn't work alone. It has a team of helpers, the muscles of the chest wall, including the external intercostal muscles. These muscles contract to lift the ribcage during inhalation, further increasing the space available for lung expansion. And when we exhale, The diaphragm relaxes and returns to its dome shape, pushing air out of the lungs. It's a beautifully coordinated dance with the diaphragm leading the way. Now, let's turn our attention to the intercostal muscles. The intercostal muscles, located between the ribs, aid in the expansion and contraction of the chest cavity during breathing. These unsung heroes of the respiratory system play a pivotal role in every breath we take. When we inhale, the intercostal muscles contract, pulling the ribs upward and outward. This action increases the volume of the chest cavity and creates a vacuum that draws air into the lungs. On exhaling, these muscles relax, allowing the ribs to return to their original position and pushing out the air. Without the tireless work of these muscles, the simple act of breathing would be a considerable challenge. Their synchronization with the diaphragm ensures a smooth, rhythmic flow of air in and out of our lungs, making our every breath seem effortless. So the next time you take a deep breath, spare a thought for these little-known muscles working behind the scenes. Moving on, our exploration takes us to the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity is an intricate passageway that not only warms and filters the air we breathe, but also helps to trap dust, allergens, and microbes. Acting as the body's first line of defense, it's a bit like a grand entrance hall, welcoming in oxygen-rich air and preparing it for its journey down into the lungs. As we inhale, the air passes through the nostrils and into the nasal cavity. Lined with a moist, mucus-producing tissue, this cavity has a dual role. It warms and humidifies the dry, cold air we breathe in, preparing it for the delicate lung tissue. At the same time, it filters out foreign particles like dust and pollen. Tiny, hair-like structures called cilia propel these trapped particles back towards the nostrils or down into the throat. This is a silent yet vital part of our respiratory system's daily operations. Now let's venture into the trachea, often referred to as the windpipe. This tough, flexible tube connects the nasal cavity to the lungs, allowing air to pass through. Yes, folks, we're talking about the trachea, often referred to as the windpipe. The trachea is a critical component of our respiratory system, acting as the main conduit for air entering and exiting our lungs. But it's not just a simple tube. The trachea is lined with tiny, hair-like structures called cilia. These cilia have a very important role to play. As we breathe in, they move in a coordinated wave-like motion, helping to sweep dust, allergens, and other unwanted particles away from our lungs and towards our mouth, where they can be swallowed or coughed out. This mechanism helps to keep our airways clear and our lungs healthy. As we journey deeper into the respiratory system, we encounter the bronchial tubes. The bronchial tubes divide into smaller and smaller tubes called bronchioles, ultimately reaching the alveoli within the lungs. This marks the beginning of our exploration into the final segment of our respiratory journey. These bronchial tubes, originating from the trachea, serve as the main airways to the lungs. But the true magic of respiration lies in their intricate branching pattern, a miraculous feat of biological engineering. As we delve deeper into the lungs, the bronchial tubes subdivide into smaller passages known as bronchioles. These bronchioles, much like the branches of a tree, spread out, becoming thinner and more numerous as they penetrate deeper into the lungs. Their primary function? To ensure the smooth transport of air from the trachea down to the alveoli, the tiny air sacs nested within the lungs. It's here, in these microscopic sacs, that the real action takes place. The life-sustaining exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs within the walls of these alveoli, marking the final step in the respiratory process. Now imagine this. Each of us has around 300 million alveoli in our lungs, and if we were to lay them flat, they would cover a tennis court. Quite astonishing, isn't it? This extensive surface area allows for efficient gas exchange, ensuring that our bodies receive the oxygen they need to function optimally. The bronchioles, despite their minuscule size, play a colossal role in this process. Acting as the final conduits in the airway system, they deliver the oxygen-rich air to the alveoli and carry away the carbon dioxide-laden air, keeping the cycle of respiration in perpetual motion. And there you have it, the intricate details of the organs of respiration. From the bronchial tubes to the bronchioles, each component plays a vital role in the grand orchestra that is the process of breathing. It's a remarkable interconnected network, ceaselessly working to ensure our survival. a testament to the marvel that is the human body.